Okay, we're continuing with the key of G, and we're continuing with chords, because I think all music can be boiled down to scales and chords. It really can. And I'm going to show you a chord pattern here that is what's called a triplet pattern instead of just a quarter note straight beat. Let me give you an idea what I'm talking about. What I'm doing, I'm playing chords, but I'm rolling them. They're called broken chords. I'm playing one note at a time, and I'm doing that on every chord. And there are lots of 50s songs done in the 1950s that use that type of chord pattern, a broken chord. And classical music uses it a lot as well. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to play through one time without singing, then I'm going to sing just a little melody that I put together to play with the chord pattern, so you can see what you might do with it. And you know, what am I doing with all these lessons? I'm trying to give you all the tools. I'm teaching you everything that I've learned in my life, all the different patterns of ways to play chords and ways to make up melodies and so forth, so that you have the tools to do that yourself. And it will just kind of start happening automatically after a certain amount of work that you put into it. But just learn everything you can. It's kind of like having an empty jar and filling it with a penny. You know, a big, huge jar. And every time you learn something new like this, you put another penny in the jar. And eventually it starts to fill up, and eventually everything starts to make sense and fit together. All right, here we go. So first time, no singing, then I'll put a little melody with it. You can just hear the 50s soundtrack to that, I think. Alright, let's begin with right hand. Now, I already told you it was in the key of G. I wish I wouldn't have done that, because I'd like you to look at it and guess yourself, or make an educated opinion on what key this song is in, this chord progression. And it's not a real song, it's just something I kind of made up. But we start with the key, or the chord, G in the left hand. See, the left hand is always a good indicator of what the chord is. Not always, but almost all the time. So G, what are we in with? G, probably in the key of G, huh? Let's look at within the song, within the chords. F sharp, F sharp, F sharp. Now we have a D sharp and an E flat as well, but we can always have accidentals, notes that are, or chords that are not part of the key of G usually. But look at all the F sharps. As it so happens, this chord and this one are not chords that commonly occur in the key of G, so they're, borrowed chords, as we call them. But these two are, so it's probably in the key of G, and it is. And how does that help you? Well, if you know something's in the key of G, you know what to expect. You know you're going to expect F sharps. You're going to be expecting G chords. You're going to be expecting B minor chords, A minor chords, D major chords, if you're familiar with the key of G. And you get familiar with the key of G by playing in the key of G. So that's what I'm doing with these songs. Okay, enough talking. Let me shut up and show you what to do here. G chord, GBD. Did you recognize that? GBD? So I'm going to come up here above middle C, play a G and a B and a D, but instead of playing it blocked, I'm going to do a broken chord triplet. Triplet just means 3 notes. So 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to do each box 2 times, okay? Make sure you do that. Each box is 2 times. So 1, 2. Put a left hand G octave. Let's not put a 5th, because we don't really need it, okay? So just the G octave here. And we're going to play that G octave with the first note of the right hand, and that's all we're going to play it. Even on the repeat of the box, we're just going to still continue to hold that left hand octave. So here's the first box. Okay? Second box, we have an F sharp above middle C, so F sharp here, B above that, D above that. That makes a what chord? a B minor because of the BDF. The F sharp makes it a minor chord. Left hand moves up to a B octave. So you were on a G, so move up to a B now. Do the box 2 times. 1, 2. Next box, we have an E above middle C, with an A above that, with a C above that. Left hand moves down to an A octave here. A. 2 times for that box. 1, 2. But what chord is it? It's an A minor chord. A, C, E. Next box, we have a D above middle C, with an F sharp above that, with an A above that. Left hand has a D octave here. Alright, 2 times. 1, 2. Alright, next box we have B below middle C, with an E above that, with a G above that. E minor, E, G, B. It's in an inversion, but it's an E chord. Okay, so left hand's on an E octave here. 2 times. 1, 2. Alright, next box. This is not a chord that commonly occurs in the key of G, or the key of C for that matter. But we can know what chord it is because remember we learned all the what we call the triad vocabulary. And BDF is one of those chords. Regardless of what's sharped or what's flatted, this is a B chord because it has the letters BDF. Now let's look at it. B, D, F. Now sharp them. Sharp the D and sharp the F. And then you have your chord. Now is that a major chord or a minor chord? Make sure you didn't skip the lesson on major and minor chords. Let's count between the B and the D sharp. One sounds major, doesn't it? Or does it sound minor? Sad or happy? Let's count. It's in root position, BDF, so it will work to use that formula that we used in the previous lesson. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 1, 2, 3, 4. Excuse me. So that is the formula for a minor chord. I mean a major chord. So that's a B major chord. Okay. Left hand's on a B octave here. 2 times. 1, 2. All right. Next box. G, C, E. C chord. That should ring a bell. C, E, G. It's in an inversion. But we have middle C, E above it, G on the bottom. Left hand's on a C octave. 2 times. 1, 2. Okay? Now let's look at this chord. There's only one difference between this box and this one. Can you see it? The E is flatted. Alright, so what we do is flat the E and make it a black key or E flat. Now what does that do to the chord? Is it still a C chord? Yes, because we have the letters C, E, G. So what does the E flat do? It makes it minor. You see, if we put this chord in root position, see it's like this, but if we flip it around, put the G up here, we see it's in root position now, C, E flat, G, and we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have the anatomy of a minor chord, so that would be C minor. So here's C major, and then C minor, and then a G chord, G, B, D, root position, and then G octave, 1, 2, and then I put G in a box because I want to give you the opportunity to do a G chord however you want to do it. You can do it here, or here, or here, as long as you play G, B, D in some form, and it's a G chord. That's it, G, B, D. So let me show you a way to do it in case you're unsure. So for this you can do a G octave, right hand can play a G chord, G, B, D up there, and you can end it. Okay? So now let me go through the whole thing again. First box, second box, third. Hear how I kind of slow down at the end? A lot of songs will do that. It's called a retard. R-I-T-A-R-D. It's an Italian word, and actually it's retardando. And you slow down a little bit at the end and kind of wind it down. A lot of songs will do that, so that's okay to do that. All right, so we just learned the triplet chord accompaniment, and now let's get to the next lesson.